Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Did you know that the XRP market cap is about twice that of cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase? Interesting how things have developed here. You know, Coinbase's stock price it has just been plummeting. It is at an all-time low. And there have been all sorts of rumors about Coinbase being insolvent, potentially going bankrupt, and users losing their funds. And I want to say at the outset of that video that I just don't think that that's in the cards at this particular junction in time. And I want to explain why, because I think that there's been a lot of actual FUD out there, fear, uncertainty, and doubt circulating. And I personally don't think that it's warranted. And if I'm wrong, but I don't suppose that's actually going to be the case. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And so here's the headline from you today. XRP now almost twice as big as Coinbase by capitalization. Details. You know what serves you right, you little punks, for halting the trading of XRP. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that mad at them. I appreciate the few exchanges that were a bit more brave and said, no, the SEC's wrong. We're going to continue to allow the trading of XRP. But so I'm not like actually mad at them. I appreciate the bravery of the other exchanges, but they were put in a precarious position just as was everybody else in crypto, frankly, especially XRP holders. Anyway, the piece reads as follows. XRP is now worth nearly twice as much as Coinbase, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges. The paradox came about as a result of the exchange's record low share price, which dipped below $40.80 after another round of capitulation of crypto-related stocks. While Coinbase has a market capitalization of $9.6 billion now, XRP is valued at $18.65 billion. So I'll just say this. Now, I happen to actually not be a stock picker. I've always just been, my entire life, of the mindset of just like, in terms of investing, index funds make sense, mutual funds make sense, real estate, all that jazz, just the basic boring stuff, So if I want to pick anything, and I do, I'd rather do it in crypto where the multiplier effect is insane. Even when I jumped into crypto 5 years ago, there are a lot of people that thought I was like bonkers for even starting to dip my toe in the water. And they're like, well, I don't know. It doesn't sound safe. Is it safe? Is it safe? Hey, tell me, do you think it's safe? And they say like, well, why don't you just, because what I'm doing is I'm just getting exposure to the firms that have exposure to the crypto. I'm like, you little baby back biatcha, you little wimp. Like, you understand if crypto fails, then those firms that you're investing in are also potentially going to have hard times. That goes down too. But on the upside, you're not nearly going to get the multiplier effect. Like, I'm like, these people. So like, my outlook on this topic for 5 years now has been, if I'm going to pick specific things, and I certainly do in crypto, great. But I'm just not as interested in doing the same thing with stocks because the amount of time you need to invest, I mean, my gosh, I'd rather put that time into crypto and realize substantially greater multiplier effects, which I certainly have. So looking back at how the last 5 years have unfolded, I'm very glad that I went the route that I went. And nothing, I'm sure some of you listening, pick your own stocks too. I'm not, to each their own is basically what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're stupid for doing that. Of course not. If you want to do that, go ahead and do that. I'm just saying for me, when it comes to investing in general, I like the safe and secure approach, but I just have this little extra side thing that I'm hyper interested in, which is crypto. With XRP as my favorite cryptocurrency in the entire damn planet for a ton of reasons. But all that to say, as far as Coinbase is concerned, they're down extra as a result of what's happening with the entire crypto sphere. So even though I don't own Coinbase and I'm not telling anybody to buy it or sell it or anything of the sort, I wouldn't be surprised to see Coinbase at some point reach a new all-time high, especially when we're in a bull market again. It just seems like Coinbase is kind of taking a hit just because of all the FTX nonsense, which, if you think about it, seems irrational, right? So maybe that creates an opportunity, even though I'm not buying individual stocks. But you look at that and then you see the rumors, so many rumors circulating, which is why I wanted to make this video. And it is also interesting just to see the The market cap for XRP is twice that of Coinbase. And by the way, Coinbase did end, and this is an alt. I've clicked 5-year chart, but it's only been traded since March of last year, so this is effectively an all-time chart. So anyway, you can see it closed at $43.39, all-time low. To me, I see this and I see super low crypto prices, and to me, it just screams opportunity personally, even though I'm not buying it. I'm just sharing what I personally think about it just for the fun of it. And there are all sorts of articles. I'm not going to read this article, but just to make the point from the Daily Huddle. In the wake of the FTX collapse, Coinbase shares fall to another new all-time low. And then there was this from an individual on Twitter with 190,500 followers named Genevieve Roche-Decter, if I'm saying her name right. And she had this whole thread about Coinbase. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there was this particular tweet in which she wrote the following. Back in May, Coinbase's CFO warned that there was a small risk of bankruptcy. Not something a perfectly healthy business would say. Now, on that point, I respectfully disagree. I actually talked about this back in May when this news made headlines. And I was like, everybody calm down, and I'll explain why. Attorney Deaton also shares my perspective, so I'll let him speak first here via Twitter. He said, Genevieve Roche-Decter is on target many times, but highlighting the statement that there exists a small risk of bankruptcy by a CEO/CFO of a regulated publicly traded company like Coinbase, whose statements are scrutinized and subject to suit either by the SEC or shareholders is a bit unfair. If these executives don't share potential risks, even small ones, it can be argued that they provided misleading information or be charged with omission. I believe Coinbase's quarterly reports lists the unveiling of Satoshi Nakamoto's identity or the movement of his coins as a risk. And Attorney Deaton is correct there. That is one of the things that was said. Now, what's the probability of that happening? Probably pretty low. Could it happen? Sure. But, that's why it's like Coinbase, again, given all the restrictions, the requirements that the SEC places on them, acknowledging that a thing could happen is not saying that it's even on the radar. Acknowledging a thing maybe, might, in theory, possibly happen, no matter how unlikely, it doesn't mean it is happen or that there's some sort of imminent concern that it's about to happen. That is definitely not what that means. But still, here's a headline from Protocol back in May. Coinbase's disturbing disclosure if we go bankrupt. And I'm just like, oh, come on. Look at the actual thread from Brian Armstrong, a Coinbase founder and CEO, May 10th of this year. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to read the first 2 tweets in this. There is some noise about a disclosure we made in our 10Q today about how we hold crypto assets. The too long didn't read version is, your funds are safe at Coinbase, just as they've always been. We have no risk of bankruptcy. However, we included a new risk factor based on an SEC requirement called SAB 121, which is a newly required disclosure for public companies that hold crypto assets for third parties. There you go. So I read that and I was like, yeah, okay, that's rational. And again, I think that, look, you can find fraud potentially in any company. Fine, I'm not naive. I'm a 39-year-old man. But I'm just saying, when it comes to a publicly traded company that's heavily scrutinized as a result of being a public company, generally speaking, I think it's a bit less likely. They know that they're under the microscope here. And then there was this, because again, I'm not kidding. If you're on social media, you know what I'm talking about. There are all sorts of people actually talking about Coinbase being insolvent today. And I'm just like, folks, they're fine. We can never know anything for sure. Okay, you got me. But come on, folks. Look at this. Brian Armstrong, Coinbase CEO, this afternoon tweeted out the following. If you see FUD out there, remember, our financials are public. We're a public company. And you know what they revealed here? Take a look if you care to. It's on your screen right here. They hold 2 million Bitcoin, which is worth $39.9 billion as of September 30th. That's on their 10Q form. So unless that's fraudulent and anybody that's checking the validity of the claim, they're somehow not able to figure out what the hell's on a damn blockchain. Okay, fine, I guess. I don't believe it though. I think that Coinbase is perfectly fine here. 2 million Bitcoin. You know, there's a max supply of 21 million Bitcoin once it's all mined, right? Which means once everything's fully mined, if you consider that they've got 2 million, that's 9.5% of all Bitcoin in existence. So yeah, we better hope that everything's fine with them. 9.5% of all Bitcoin that could ever exist. Like, wow. And then Brian Armstrong said, we all need to come together to build this industry in a responsible way going forward. Be wary of false information. So look, I just want to kind of like quell the concern out there. I just don't think it makes sense. And I think a lot of people, especially on the heels of what happened with FTX, they're happy to blab their mouths a little bit more than perhaps they otherwise would in terms of cryptocurrency exchanges being insolvent. And I'm not saying we won't see more collapse. In fact, I've been very clear that I think the contagion is out there. I'm just not seeing where it hits Coinbase. If it does, it's not here. It's not here. They've got 2 million Bitcoin accounted for. So if it hits Coinbase in some way that's unforeseen and I'm just, okay, fine. I don't see what that is even going to be. And then in terms of them going bankrupt, it's not in the cards, folks. It's just, I don't see it. So, and I understand in terms of operational funds, there's other things to consider. They are running a business, but all of that can be adjusted, adapted, this and that. And I believe that they have a line of credit. There's all sorts of stuff going on here. So, and plus crypto gets better at some point. Things pick up. They're going to be fine. Part of the reason that they were kind of like in a downward spiral, and part of it, honestly, they were losing boatloads of money. I'm not pretending like they didn't. They perhaps got a little bit too ambitious in terms of growth, let's say, because it does hinge on like the world of crypto at large continuing to shoot to the upside. We're in a bear market, which is why, I mean, maybe a little bit extra caution, but what are they doing? The scaling back, just like any firm. You're optimistic, but then if something unexpected happens, like a bear market occurs, whatever, you adjust accordingly. So it's like, how much risk did you put out there? So there are some exchanges, maybe they didn't risk as much. They didn't have to, fire a bunch of people and stuff like that. But if, in any industry, really, if you're going to get a bit more gutsy and then bad times occur, you just have to react. And you know what? That's business, though. So if things go completely horrific for them, fine, but they're not being fraudulent, okay? Let's just throw that concept out. Unless you have some actual evidence, fine, bring it to me, show it to me, we'll talk about it. I see nothing. I see absolutely nothing. So for the moment, let's just appreciate that XRP is worth twice as much as Coinbase. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.